Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Welcome from Natland.
To Natland, I think is what I was trying to say.
No,
From Natland.
Oh, okay. 2 seconds into Welcome from Natland.
Nat. G-N-A-T. Yes, that's what's happening here. We put on some...
Tea tree oil.
No, it was lemongrass.
Oh, lemongrass.
Oil. And we had hoped that would help. And it seemed to at first.
Maybe some of you know. How can we not be attracted to these gnats? If you do know, please put it in the comments.
I think up in Scotland area they're called midges, but I think that might be slightly different than gnats. But we're going to try to get absorbed because at the time of death it's going to be very difficult to...
Well, I hope there's no gnats around me.
God knows what will be around us at the time of death. That would be horrible.
We've had enough dying about gnats.
At the time of death there may be all kinds of things around us.
So, let's say a big hello, by the way, to our youngest viewer, as far as we know, Lolita.
Hi, Lolly.
Croydon? No,
Wimbledon. Come on, over near Sutton.
Hare Krishna, Lolly.
Hi, Lolly.
People that come up to you and say, hi, Lord.
Hi, Lolly. Okay.
Daughter of Matt and Priya, by the way.
But they're not our oldest viewers, by the way. Okay, we're going to read today from where?
Canto 3, chapter 27, text 14, chapters under... I think I just swallowed a gnat. Oh, God. Oh, dear. Understanding material nature. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 14. Although a devotee appears to be merged in the 5 material elements, the objects of material enjoyment, the material senses, the material mind and intelligence, he is understood to be awake and to be freed from the false ego. Purport. The explanation by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu of how a person can be liberated even in this body is more elaborately explained in this verse. The living entity who has become Satyadrik, who realizes his position in relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, may remain apparently merged in the 5 elements of matter, the 5 material sense objects, the 10 senses, and the mind and intelligence. But still he is considered to be awake and to be freed from the reaction of false ego. Here the word Lina is very significant. The Mayavadi philosophers recommend merging in the impersonal effulgence of Brahman. That is their ultimate goal or destination. That merging is also mentioned here. But in spite of merging, one can keep his individuality. The example given by Jiva Goswami is that a green bird that enters a green tree appears to merge in the color of greenness, but actually the bird does not lose its individuality. Similarly, a living entity merged either in the material nature or in the spiritual nature does not give up his individuality. Real individuality is to understand oneself to be the eternal servitor of the Supreme Lord. This information is received from the mouth of Lord Chaitanya. He said clearly upon the inquiry of Sanatana Goswami that a living entity is the servitor of Krishna eternally. Krishna also confirms in Bhagavad Gita that the living entity is eternally his part and parcel. The part and parcel is meant to serve the whole. This is individuality. It is so even in this material existence. Even when the living entity apparently merges in matter, his gross body is made up of 5 elements. His subtle body... I lost it now.
His subtle body is made of mind.
Oh yeah. His subtle body is made of mind, intelligence, false ego and contaminated consciousness. And he has 5 active senses and 5 knowledge-inquiring senses. In this way he merges in matter, but even while merged in the 24 elements of matter, he can keep his individuality as the eternal servitor of the Lord. Even in the spiritual nature, in the material nature, such a servitor is to be considered a liberated soul. That is the explanation of the authorities, and it is confirmed in this verse.
Thoughts?
So we never lose our individuality, even if we wanted to.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, it seems to be speaking about a liberated person, someone who has merged into Brahman but not lost his individuality, meaning like you may have merged into Brahman, means you understand that you are ultimately connected with everything that is here, all the different elements, but you understand that connectivity. You understand that connectivity with...
the neighbor was waving to us.
You understand that connectivity through Krishna and as a ultimate part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So, but one is still understanding the connectivity. Like this morning I was out here while the sun was coming up, and it was such an amazing experience. I mean, the vastness of the sky and the land, and I was thinking, to close your eyes and meditate is, what's the point? Why would I want to do that when my eyes can be wide open and I'm chanting and thinking how amazing Krishna is? Just look at this world that Krishna has created, all the elements, how they come together, how they're working together. And that in and of itself, and I was feeling, is a much higher meditation than trying to close my eyes and think of nothing, which is what is often prescribed. So anyway, those are a few thoughts.
And it's not easy if you do an exercise just to try to think of nothing. It's not easy. Doing it now.
I was just doing that.
Yeah, but it's true. Something's going to get in.
Yeah, close your eyes and think of nothing. Definitely don't think of a pink elephant with purple spots. Okay, next verse. Text 15. The living entity can vividly feel his existence as the seer, but because of the disappearance of the ego during the state of deep sleep, he falsely takes himself to be lost, like a man who has lost his fortune and feels distressed, thinking himself to be lost. Let's hear the purport. Only in ignorance does a living entity think he is lost. Okay. If by attainment of knowledge he comes to the real position of his eternal existence, he knows that he is not lost. An appropriate example is mentioned herein. Nasta vita iva turaha. A person who has lost a great sum of money may think that he is lost, but actually he is not lost. Only his money is lost. But due to his absorption in the money or identification with the money, he thinks that he is lost. Similarly, when we falsely identify with matter as our field of activities, we think that we are lost, although actually we are not. Powerful. As soon as a person is awakened,
there's so many bugs here, it's horrible.
It's ants.
Like bug
Ants in your
loca.
pants.
And the ants here are massive. I've never seen such big ants.
Well, they're not massive.
No, compared to England, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because everything in the US is bigger.
Okay.
So even the ants are bigger.
As soon as a person is awakened to the pure knowledge of understanding his eternal servitor of the Lord, his own real position is revived. A living entity can never be lost. When one forgets his identity in deep sleep, he becomes absorbed in dreams, and he may think himself a different person, or may think himself lost, but actually his identity is intact. This concept of being lost is due to false ego, and it continues as long as one is not awakened to the sense of his existence as an eternal servitor of the Lord. Yeah, so we're never lost. That's just an illusion, because we're eternally parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. So we're not lost.
But these ants need to get lost.
The Mayavad philosopher's concept of becoming one with the Supreme Lord is another symptom of being lost and false ego. One may falsely claim oh Lord have mercy. One may falsely claim that he is the Supreme Lord, but actually he is not. This is... Where'd it go? Oh, in the squirt. Get out of here.
Sorry about that. Ants are attacking us.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, we just walked under a tree like the rulers of the universe, flung down our little kind of mat, and sat down as if, you know, we're here and everything should be peaceful. And the ants underneath of us and their home may be like, who the heck are these people? What's going on here? We're complaining about them, but...
Something just went in my ear, sorry.
but they're probably, you know, screaming like, you know...
Oh, God.
Screaming like, oh my God, it's like a tsunami, ah! You know, it's the ant world, you know, the ants, plants, they're just like, God, these people just sat on top of our home. Yeah, exactly. To think oneself equal with the Supreme Lord, or to think oneself to be the Supreme Lord himself, is also due to false ego. So, what does all this mean? Ultimately, my summation of this is that we all feel lost sometimes. We all feel a little bit orphaned. We all feel like, where are we going? What am I doing here? What is the purpose of my life? Why do certain things happen to me? I don't have any friends. I don't have any family. I don't have this. I don't have that. We feel lost. We feel alone. Feel uncertain about where we're meant to be going, where we're heading. But actually, this is illusion, because, now of course, not to diminish or deride the fact that we may feel like this sometimes, but it's illusion because we should have transcendental knowledge that helps us to understand that we are actually eternal spirit souls, parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. And we have an eternal relationship with Krishna, with God. And if we understand that, in that way, we're not lost. We know who we are, and we know our relationship with the Supreme Person, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Any thoughts? Apart from the fact that the bugs should get lost?
Yeah, it's true. It's like whenever you find yourself not focused or some sort of
like this morning.
Daily activities are not there, your daily sadhana and dipping in, and yeah, you definitely feel lost.
Interesting. That's a good point. Yeah.
And you could be in amongst, it doesn't have to mean that, yeah, because I live by myself, I don't have association, it doesn't mean that at all. Because if I'm honest, when I was living outside, I never lived in the temple, but meaning for marriage and that, be more connected. But living outside, I would say that was the greatest sometimes connections that I've had, because I was striving even more to daily dip into the sadhana pool, as it were, and just hear and opportunities to hear. I can remember when my parents would go out shopping or whatever and I'd be at home alone, go upstairs, grab my Japanese, come downstairs into the dining room area where we had Tulsi Devi on the damn, they're even in my blinking in my book. Anyway, stay focused. So I used to even go down and chant, next to Tulsi, because I couldn't do that in terms of just the strictness of my parents and taking to the process. And I can remember doing that. Oh, they're going out to the shops. The way they walk, they're so slow, so it takes them about 45 minutes to an hour. And it's not like I needed to finish my rounds in the morning to get out, be out, so they wouldn't see that. But I can remember doing that, sitting next to Tulsi downstairs. And the example I'm trying to give is, it's like that. Is it? I don't know if it's determination, or is it that enthusiasm, or that neat desire or keenness to be like really grabbing the moments.
Lolium.
And is it still there
Greed,
now,
intense
where
greed.
I'm not in a situation where I have to hide what I'm doing, if that makes sense. I can do it so freely. So when you can do it so freely, are you dipping in so freely? Sometimes if we can do it freely, then we back off, if that makes sense. So in relation to this, sometimes you can feel lost purely due to a lack of connection, your own effort to connect.
Nice.
Because Krishna's always there, so just plug in. Just like these ants are always there, and now they're all over my sandals.
As I'm looking into the grass, I see there is like 10 billion.
We must have sat on their kingdom.
Well, no, I looked over. I tried to look around. I tried to be conscientious, and
it's horrible.
But it's just their kingdom is the grass and the earth and the world. They live in it, and
it's horrible.
Well, that's what they do. They're living entities for Jews. Anyway, I think with that, maybe we'll
stop.
We'll conclude the battle of the ants.
Yeah, they've you win. You win, you dratty dads.
We hope that they all have benefited from hearing some Srimad Bhagavatam.
Because you're going to die now.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I hope that one in my book went, because that would be gross.
Well,
anyway, next time I'm going to get a chair. Oh my God.
Okay. If you don't see us again, you'll know it's because we're eaten alive by ants. Okay, thank you very much, Krantaraj. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai.